Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to another video. We're going to be talking about ZvZ, the open world aspect of Albion, and what I think needs to be changed in order to make it more viable. So there's a couple of different things. This is kind of following on from the ZvZ we saw on the official stream last night. We saw fights happening, people getting lots of attacks, things like that, lots of people fighting over war camps, and it was really cool to see. And we saw other guilds coming in and trying to sort of sandwich different guilds in, and lots of different like tactical things. But realistically, outside of dungeons, outside of war camps, there's no real reason to have these open world ZvZ fights. So hopefully I'm going to talk through a couple of things I think needs to be improved about ZvZ that hopefully will bring them into a little bit more fun for people to do. So first of all, obviously it's no surprise the FPS, lag, whatever you want to call it, MS, when ZvZ are happening, is still a little bit too intense for things like tactical calls to come in all the time, because ultimately you get in the middle of a fight and you start struggling with that MS and you get caught out, you die. It kind of kills off ZvZ in a heartbeat when you're not able to play the game. You're not able to react and things like that. So, or listen to calls. Obviously, another big thing is being able to listen to calls. So that is one thing. I think everyone knows that anyway, though. So I'm going to move on to the second point, incentive. ZvZ have to have an incentive. And I think castles are the way to do this. So, looking here, team casualty. We look at all this zone. You've got exertion, you've got conflict, you've got just a load of different guilds. Yet team casualty own the castle. Really well played to those guys. They've got that. Now, a castle at the moment gives them a chest. Yeah, that's it. That's all they get for that. Now, I think what you really need to do with castles, give them the chest, give them the reward, and that's cool. However, you've got these gates. Allow people to like invest a currency in being able to upgrade them, make gate defenses, make guards, make, I don't know, anything. Have that castle be something that is hard to actually attack, and maybe you'll then start seeing a couple of different guilds form together, go for the attack on someone to try and take that off them. That could be a really cool concept. Bearing in mind castles are fairly well spread out, which means you're not going to be able to attack all of them with the same guild all at once, so the same guild's not going to be able to own every single castle. And the other thing then, I think castles have to have some sort of maybe region-wide. So that might be a bit extreme. So that castle there, I don't think you could ever give that castle an entire Mercia buff. However, I don't know, maybe for like the surrounding tiles or the 6 closest tiles or something like that, for an area around the castle, give like a fame increase so you farm faster. Give like, I don't know, like a gathering increase or anything, but give it some sort of increase so that if you hold that castle, if you hold this ZvZ objective, you get a benefit from it outside of, we have a castle, yay, we got a chest. Because they're just glorified relic chests. So having some sort of incentive, give the castles, I don't know, like I said, there's a buff or something like that. That could be a really cool feature. Another one then is like the circling vultures, the castles and the world bosses. Now, these bosses have died quite a bit and whatever, they do occasionally get killed. However, there's not really very much competition for them. Maybe circling vultures, but I mean, I've gone to Carpet of Bones, I've gone to No Respite so many times, and the boss is just up, stood there, no one is killing it, and there's no real want to fight for it. There's no real, I don't know, like, there's no real urge to go and get it. So again, this is something else. You could have this be like an entrance to a dungeon, so that if you held this castle, so have this castle be like an objective thing, that if you held the castle you could enter inside this dungeon, and having that dungeon then gives you access to an amazing, like the most efficient fame possible in the game. A boss at the end that is on a rotation, so maybe like a separate instance that you go in, that, like I said, it's an amazing fame. You cannot beat it in the game. You've got bosses down there, so you're going to get your relics, you're going to get all this different stuff, and it means that the only way that you can be kicked out of there is someone else has to come along and kill that castle, take that castle off you, which all of a sudden incites ZvZ. It incites guild coordination, alliance coordination as well. And again, this could be something that is a really, really big thing that is ultimately very ZvZ centric, which could be quite fun. Open world, big PvP fights are what decide a game, or what make the people's best memories in a game. Some of my best memories from WoW are the level 60 raids that you used to do in open world, and fighting just hundreds of people and that sort of thing. It's not doing a battleground. They're not my favourite memories. So yeah, there's another option, that something like the castles, potentially a dungeon that you own, that you have to hold the castle to be able to go in. While you're inside you get amazing fame and whatever. That could be something that's again quite cool. But I mean, you've got the relic items that we already know are coming soon, the sort of tier 3 artifacts. You've got currently the normal artifacts, the hell artifacts, and then obviously the relic ones coming soon. The relic artifacts, they have to be something ZvZ centric. Because realistically it's going to shake up the meta so much, and we already see it. Hell artifacts are just naturally better than everything else because they have better stats. Something like Fiend Robe being used, Fiend or Druid Robe, but between the two being used very commonly, just because it gives more stats than everything else. They've used the same skill, it just gives more stats. And what I don't want to see is relic items have the same thing happen to them. So again, something like these castles, that if you own them, that's the only place you could get tier 6 relics from. Have the tier 7 ones from Blighted Bog. The only place you can get that from is if you own this castle, and you go through and you have to take this dungeon, hold the dungeon, while your main group goes and farms and gets these bosses. There's so many different things that they could do with ZvZ and open world stuff. Things like chests don't really attract enough attention to warrant fights. The resource holds, like obviously the territories, the watchtowers having resources, it kind of incited a little bit of PvP, but not particularly much. Typically a gatherer will be assigned to a territory, we'll go and pick it up on the respawn, and that's it, done. Outside of that, like I said, the only other incentive for ZvZ is war camps and dungeons. You've got to get into a dungeon and get that fame, so people tended to fight. But outside of that, the ZvZ typically are random roaming blobs more than anything else, just finding a couple of people and battering them. I definitely think Sandbox could be missing a trick with these castles. I think that's got to be a big key. But guys, tell me what you think about ZvZ in Albion. Tell me what you think about what else they could do with ZvZ that would make you guys want to do them. So very interested to hear your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and catch you later, guys. Goodbye.